Hold on.
Johnny Depp. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel Paws On Animation and our podcast.
And today we're covering Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, can you believe it, guys? Since we covered the other two adaptations, or film adaptations we should say, of the Roald Dahl classic, now it's time we cover possibly the strangest take we've had so far.
Yes.
Now, once again, the story of Charlie visiting the famous Willy Wonka, played by Johnny Depp, although he's a lot more weird than the previous versions.
Yes,
but
it's on weird. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notifications on future podcasts and Multiple Pause videos.
And thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting everything you do, helping us on our journey. We appreciate you so much, and we hope your new year is going flawlessly.
Yes. So,
Rascal insisted we do this.
yes, because we had covered, our first one we had covered Wonka. Then we covered Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They said, well, why don't we just go ahead and do the third live action movie, which is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, something we hadn't done. And the animated one will be the Tom and Jerry one. When that comes out, you're going to be laughing a lot at that.
And for those of you that do things in order, this was the second movie release out of 3. The
Right.
third was Wonka, so no one corrects us.
Right.
in the description, the comments.
Right. So, wanted to do this, and we had actually seen the movie years ago when it was still out for a couple years. And we decided to rewatch because it had been so long. And we didn't really recall too much of it anymore because now we've seen more than one version. And we've read the original book. So we wanted to see, since the Willy Wonka original movie was a bit different from the book, but it was still beloved, how would this one fare?
Right.
Well, it was very different.
Yes, very. So those of you not familiar with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it was released in 2005. It was considered a musical fantasy film, directed by Tim Burton and written by John August. And if you guys have seen Wonka, then you know what inspired Wonka now.
Right.
And it's based on the 1964 children's book of the same name, written by Roald Dahl. And the story originally features the adventures of young Charlie Bucket inside the chocolate factory of the eccentric chocolatier Willy Wonka. And the book was illustrated by 4 illustrators, and it originally came out in January of '64 for the US, and then it was released in the UK in November of that same year. So if any of you have read that original book, let us know in the comments.
Yes. So, with this one, as we watched it, we also remembered, we did remember one thing clearly, is that it was a Tim Burton film.
Right.
And we have watched just about all of Tim Burton's movies, whether it be live action or animated. And with this one, you knew, okay, we know this is going to be a bit darker because that is his tone. Even if it's a comedy, it's a dark comedy. That's just how he does it.
Right.
So we were prepared for that. However, what we didn't recall is how strange the movie was. And maybe that was the point. Because we had learned, if you listen to our Willy Wonka podcast, Roald Dahl was not happy with the Willy Wonka movie being a more sweet type and wholesome type movie, because his original book had more cynicism in it, and he wanted more of that edge to it. So it looks like, from what we learned, Roald Dahl was involved in writing some of the songs for this movie when he was still alive.
Yes.
So it looks like Charlie Chocolate Factory is in fact more accurate to what Roald Dahl envisioned for a movie adaptation to be, with a little more cynicism, a little more edge, a little darker, a little creepy. This is what he imagined the book to be when he adapted it to a movie.
Very true. So a little more on that. It had 2 producers, Brad Gray, Richard Zanuck, and of course it starred Johnny Depp, one of my favorite actors. Great cinematography by Philippe Rousselet. it looked really good. Looked strange, but it looked good.
True.
And music by the great Danny Elfman.
Mm-hmm.
The music did match. Now, there were 4 production companies: Village Roadshow Pictures, the Zonic Company, Plan B Entertainment, which sounds weird now,
Right.
and Theobald Film Productions, distributed by Warner Brothers. So it technically was not a Warner Brothers movie. They were
Right.
just the distributor,
Right.
which we didn't know.
Right.
Now, in 2005, it actually had 3 releases. Grauman's Chinese Theater on July 10th.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Nationally July 15th, and then the UK on July 29th. It has a runtime of 115 minutes. It's said to have had a budget of $150 million. It grossed over $475 million at the box office. So
Really?
it was a box office success.
Okay. Well, that's good for him. And going back over this movie now that they had the Wonka film, people were comparing the first 2 movies, and even Tom and Jerry to some extent, to the Wonka film, because Wonka was created to be making their own backstory for the character, because one never existed for the book. And the first movie didn't do that. However, this movie is the one that provided a backstory for Willy Wonka. And this would be where the extra stuff comes in. For the most part, the movie stays accurate to what happens in the book from start to finish. Certain events, you know how it goes if you read it. But the new additions would be showing the backstory of Willy Wonka. On the addition of Charlie Bucket's father, he's alive in here. He doesn't add anything much to the story, but he is alive.
Right.
You have more focus on the grandparents in there instead of just being there. They actually say more. They put a song number after each kid succumbs to something they shouldn't have done, eating a candy. And there was also a character arc for Wonka and showing how he got the Oompa Loompas and showing him reconciling with his father. All this extra stuff was added to the movie, and depending, you see either it's good additions or it's unnecessary.
I think what was interesting is you mentioned this is closer to Dahl's vision.
Yeah.
And it said that the Dahl estate had total artistic control.
Yeah.
And then when you read the book, you let me know that Charlie's family and him did not look the same way they do in either of these movies.
Right.
And I think it's interesting that they had total artistic control, as said, but they didn't choose to represent the character the way it was in the book.
Right.
I find that interesting.
Right.
So you kind of question, did they really have total artistic control?
Right.
Because as you said, they've added musical numbers and some other things.
Which were weird.
And maybe like now, oh well, you know, they were fine with it so that people wouldn't be so upset about it.
Right.
And then another thing is that rather than using CGI environments, Burton built the sets and practical effects, which he claims was inspired by the book's emphasis on texture.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Wonka did the same thing where they built the
Yes.
sets, which that movie looks really good when you think about the set building.
Yes. True.
And they also, at the same time, he was shooting Corpse Bride.
Ah, makes sense now. Same
So maybe
themes.
one influenced the other.
Right.
Part of the marketing was they actually in real life released Wonka-themed chocolate bars
Which
that
was smart.
had golden ticket contests launched as part of the marketing campaign.
Which was smart because they didn't, unfortunately, didn't do that for the Wonka one.
And they had planned on doing a Broadway theater production at the same time, but that never happened.
Ah, okay.
So they really wanted to go all out for making this particular movie the one that stood out. Well, they did, but not in the way that they wanted, because as you said, it's remembered as being the strangest version there is. One thing that really was odd is they seem to be concerned about women, and I want to say women, finding Johnny Depp attractive.
Yeah.
They made sure that there was no way in heck you would look at him and go, "Ooh, it's Johnny Depp." They put the white powder on him, or the
that
makeup.
most Tim Burton
They put an
characters have.
unattractive wig. He acted in a way that was totally
Odd.
opposite of how he is.
Mm.
They put dentures to cover
Yes.
his natural teeth. And there was nothing attractive about him whatsoever.
Right.
And I think it's funny because when he did Edward Scissorhands, they still left some element of Depp in it. And people actually found Edward Scissorhands attractive.
Which
I
is
guess
funny.
Tim Burton said, Not this time. We're gonna make sure you put on these weird clothes, this hat, and all this other stuff that you don't find him attractive. They were successful.
Oh my gosh.
And he acted very differently. He acted like he had a lot of phobias and things.
Yeah, like he's almost a germaphobe.
And then they, as you said, we got his dad in here, played by Christopher Lee, the legendary horror actor Christopher Lee.
Yes.
And that actually fit.
Yes, actually. They made something work for making a backstory. And I also like the addition of them using the glass elevator, which is from the sequel book of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Not a lot of people know there's even a sequel book now, because everyone kind of just stops at the first book, and everyone usually adapts the first movie. But they actually use the elevator in this movie, which the previous version didn't have. So I do like that he incorporated a little more from the book into here, even if there were some other changes. And as he said, Wonka was more of a oddball in here. Like you say, actually he was a germaphobe and things. He didn't like to go outside much why he was really, really pale. And even the people thought he was kind of odd how they saw him. And the way they had set it up is this time there were people that were trying to steal his candy and stuff to create a fortune. So there wasn't a test to see if Charlie was good natured or not. They really were trying to steal his stuff, so we took that entire thing out. But what is interesting is that if this is more in line of what Roald Dahl had in mind, most people kind of see Willy Wonka as this sort of person you were supposed to be attracted to anyway, so they liked that anyway. It worked out.
I'm so glad you said that, because I found a little more information that you definitely have to hear.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I'm going to read this, guys, because I don't want to get this wrong. It's not long, but now I remember saying just a little while ago, I questioned whether it was his vision, and it probably wasn't. Arthur Roald Dahl disapproved of this 1971 film adaptation. Warner Brothers Pictures and Brostein Gray Entertainment entered into discussions with the Dahl estate in 1991, hoping to purchase the rights to produce another film version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The purchase was finalized in 1988, with Dahl's widow Felicity and daughter Lucy receiving total artistic control and final privilege on the choices of actors, directors, and writers.
Oh, really?
The Dahl estate's subsequent protecting of the source material was the main reason that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory had languished in development hell since the 90s. So again, if it was supposed to be what he visualized, then why didn't the characters representation match the movie? So I think what has happened, like happens with a lot of great stories, the people pass and their progeny or their estates take control. So what you're really getting, guys, is not his vision, it's the wife and the daughter's vision.
And I
that
guess
explains a lot.
In choosing Tim Burton, this is what they thought the story should be, a little more strange and eerie. So, okay then. And we will say there are some parts in here that are actually legitimately funny, whether it was on purpose or by complete accident. Two of the funniest parts would be, one, when they have the Oompa Loompa sing a song every time a kid doesn't listen and gets stuck in something, and they all come out just like permanently damaged when they're finished. Oompa Loompa sing different genres of music and songs for them instead of the Oompa Loompa doobity doo. No, they sing rap, they can sing rock, they can sing what is this, a sort of sci-fi type music, and it's like, okay. And then the other thing would be, they kept in line with all the kids, their attributes, the names. They updated Mike TV and some other things because it was taking place in a later time period, which was fine. But
and we got a fun fact to you before we finish. We learned that Mike TV voiced
Lewis in Meet the Robinsons.
And as he was speaking during the movie, all we kept going, it's Lewis. It's
Lewis.
It's Lewis.
Yes, and you're talking about science. So to show he wasn't so stupid or so mesmerized by games, he actually was smart. It was hilarious.
Yes, continue.
Okay. The other funny thing would be showing Wonka's backstory. At first, it's kind of odd. Again, this inspired trying to make up a backstory that seemed believable for the character. And it's really weird when you see it. And he's got this big headgear on because he couldn't eat candy stuff. He still, I don't know how he still ate it through it, but he did. And
because he wanted it. He was a kid. He wanted that candy. Right. He was going to have it.
Right. They had this thing. We argued with the dad. He said he was going to go run away and see the world. He's going to make his own candy, his own factory. He told him, okay, well, don't expect me to be here when you get back. And he had this montage of him look like he was going to different countries and seeing the world. And all this is going on. Then, like, a couple minutes later, this guy come in and said, I'm sorry, young man, this place is closed. You have to come back tomorrow. And he only went through a hole of flags.
And then his dad was serious because when he got back to the house, there was a big space where the entire house had been taken
And it's
away.
like, where did he take the house? He somehow went to the Arctic. I don't even know how he got there. I don't know how he's alive. I don't know how he's getting business, but he did. And yes, it was the funniest part, and it genuinely had us laughing.
Tim Burton said, as far as his view for this movie, he said as a child, Dahl was the author who he connected to the most. Mm-hmm. He got the idea of writing a mixture of light and darkness and not speaking down to kids and the kind of politically incorrect humor that kids get. Mm-hmm. He's always like that, and so he said it shaped everything that he felt he did for the movie. So I found that really interesting. And one more thing I want to share, because I really thought this was like crazy. Johnny Depp was not who they wanted. Johnny Depp was like, okay, since no one else is working, let's go ahead and use him. I've worked with him before. Prior to Tim Burton's involvement, Warner Brothers discussed these roles with, and guys, you're going to be laughing at this lineup.
Right.
Bill Murray, Christopher Walken, Steve Martin,
oh my God,
Robin Williams, Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey, Michael Keaton, Robert De Niro, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Mike Myers, Ben Stiller, Leslie Nielsen, 3 members of Monty Python's Flying Circus, including John Cleese, Eric Idle, Michael Palin, Patrick Stewart, and Adam Sandler.
Okay, so basically they just wanted Wonka to be a weird comedic villain.
And then person. 2 people who wanted the role but didn't get it. Well, one was Dustin Hoffman.
Oh my God.
And Marilyn Manson.
Oh.
The singer, yes.
Oh my God. So all these people.
And the last big fun fact, because we're on a Bennett roll here, Michael Jackson actively sought the role and secretly recorded an original soundtrack for the entire film at a small studio in Los Angeles. But Warner Brothers said, we don't want that crap. And
so
they said that Michael Jackson, but can you believe this, would not be marketable for the role as the lead in a family film.
Oh my, well, they missed out.
But they wanted his music, so he told them, screw you, took his music, and walked away.
Oh my gosh, this movie would have made history then if he was involved. That does explain why he has sort of Michael-esque personality within it. When you see this version of Wonka, he is kind of odd. He also speaks in a high-pitched voice like him. So yes, clearly they at some point were gonna have him in it, and he just took his place and said, just sound like him. Oh my God, that explains all the weird music choices too.
Yes, so when they say development hell, they meant development hell.
Oh my God.
So what we got is pretty much Tim Burton's vision.
Amalgamation.
With the wife and the daughter probably pretty much signing off on it. Mm-hmm. And now we have this version as one of the environments of one of the worlds, I should say, that Willy Wonka was in. Right. It did have a happy ending.
Yes,
I did like that. He got back with his dad. It was touching.
Yes.
And in the end, spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
He ended up living with Charlie and his family.
Yes.
In his factory, having a family. And it was a great ending. I did love the ending.
And it was accurate to the book's ending too. So yes, they actually did that right.
Now remember, I haven't read it yet, so now I gotta read it. So let's go over the cast quickly. As you mentioned, Johnny Depp, Freddie Highmore as Charlie, David Kelly, Helena Bonham Carter, Tim Burton's wife, he put her in everything, Noah Taylor, Missy Powell, James Fox, Deep Roy, who was the Oompa Loompa, and Christopher Lee.
Yes. Wow.
So, If you've seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from 2005, let us know in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And if you do love it, tell us why this is your favorite version. And if you've seen all three, how do you rank them from least favorite to most favorite?
Right.
If you haven't seen it, we saw it on demand.
Yes. And if you don't see it on there anymore by the time you see this, then rent it.
Warner Brothers has a website, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. You can order from them too.
Don't they have an app?
Yes.
Okay,
HBO.
So,
yes.
So you can watch it there too. Come back and tell us what you think. And yes, we do really think you should watch it because it's so different from the other two and the Tom and Jerry version that go ahead and give it a watch and see how you think it measures up to the original movie.
Right.
From the 70s.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, videos, favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation, and a little bit of live action.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining us today. And again, subscribing to our channels. We appreciate everything you do. As always,
you are special. Thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
And Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
Tops